In 1996, visitors at Brookfield Zoo watched in horror as a 3-year-old boy fell unconscious into the gorilla habitat. But what happened next would challenge everything we thought we knew about these powerful primates. Binti Jua, an 8-year-old female gorilla, approached the motionless child with her own infant clinging to her back. As spectators held their breath, she did something remarkable. She gently cradled the boy in her arms and carried him to safety. The incident made headlines worldwide, not for tragedy, but for an unexpected display of compassion. 20 years later, another child would fall into another gorilla enclosure. But this time, at the Cincinnati Zoo, their story would end very differently. The tale of these two encounters, one heartwarming, one tragic, would forever change how we view our closest animal relatives. On that August morning at Brookfield Zoo, nobody expected to witness something that would rewrite our understanding of gorilla behavior. The boy had slipped away from his mother and climbed over the barrier, falling 24 feet onto concrete. The impact knocked him unconscious. The onlookers' screams echoed through the enclosure, yet Binti Jua's reaction defied every natural instinct. Instead of displaying aggression or territorial behavior, she approached the child with an almost maternal gentleness. What made this moment even more extraordinary was that she was carrying her own 17-month-old baby, Kula, on her back the entire time. As she lifted the boy, witnesses described something remarkable. She cradled him as if he were her own infant. She even kept the other gorillas away, including the dominant male of the group. It was as if she understood the vulnerability of the small human in her care. When she carried him to the service door where zookeepers could reach him, she did something that stunned everyone. She gently placed him down and stepped back, as if she knew her role in this rescue was complete. The entire incident lasted less than 5 minutes, but it would be discussed for decades to come. The boy recovered fully with only minor injuries from the fall, but the impact of Binti Jua's actions would have far-reaching consequences that nobody could have predicted. The footage of Binti Jua's rescue went viral before going viral was even a thing. News stations worldwide played the video of this 170-pound gorilla tenderly carrying a human child to safety. But what many people didn't see was what happened in the following days. Binti Jua's behavior changed after the incident. Zookeepers noticed she became more protective of her own infant, Kula, but also more attentive to human children visiting her enclosure. She would often approach the glass when small children were present, showing a gentleness that seemed to contradict everything we thought we knew about wild animals. Letters and gifts poured into Brookfield Zoo from around the world. Many came from parents wanting to thank the gorilla who had saved a child's life. Some even contained drawings from children who now saw gorillas not as scary monsters, but as gentle giants capable of remarkable compassion. Scientists studying the footage noticed something fascinating about her movements during the rescue. Every gesture was deliberate, careful, and showed clear awareness of human fragility. The way she positioned her body between the boys and other gorillas, how she avoided sudden movements. It was almost like watching a trained emergency responder. But as remarkable as this story was, it would be dramatically contrasted by events that would unfold 2 decades later at another zoo, with another gorilla and another child. 20 years later at the Cincinnati Zoo, history seemed to be repeating itself. Another child had found his way into a gorilla enclosure, but this time the gorilla was Harambe, a 440-pound silverback male. And the circumstances couldn't have been more different. Harambe's first reaction wasn't aggression. In fact, video footage shows him initially standing protectively near the child. He even appeared to adjust the boy's clothing at one point. But unlike the quiet, controlled environment during Binti Jua's rescue, this enclosure was filled with screaming visitors and chaos. The noise and commotion changed everything. Harambe became increasingly agitated, dragging the conscious child through the water of the moat. Each time the crowd screamed, his behavior became more erratic. What started as seemingly protective behavior turned into something more dangerous as the massive silverback displayed his power. Unlike Binti Jua's case, where spectators watched in stunned silence, social media was broadcasting this incident in real time. Thousands of people were watching live as zoo officials faced an impossible decision. The tranquilizer option that might have worked in a calmer situation was now too risky. The drugs would take too long to work, and the shock might cause Harambe to react violently. What happened next would divide public opinion and spark a debate that continues to this day. The decision to shoot Harambe was made in a matter of minutes. One shot ended his life, but it was just the beginning of a controversy that would explode across the world. Within hours, millions had seen the footage, and everyone had an opinion. Animal rights activists were outraged. Zoo defenders pointed to the risk to human life. But what made this case different from any previous zoo incident was social media. Harambe became more than just a gorilla. He became a symbol, a meme, a cultural phenomenon that would take on a life of its own. The contrast with Binti Jua's case became a central part of the debate. Why did one incident end in triumph while the other ended in tragedy? But these comparisons often missed crucial differences. Binti Jua was a female with maternal experience. Harambe was a young male silverback, naturally more prone to displays of strength and dominance. The Cincinnati Zoo faced a backlash unlike anything seen before in zoo history. They received death threats. Their social media accounts were bombarded. The director who made the final call to shoot Harambe needed police protection. The public reaction was so intense that the zoo had to temporarily shut down its social media accounts. But beneath the outrage and viral memes, a more complex story was emerging about our relationship with these incredible animals. In the aftermath of these two incidents, scientists made some fascinating discoveries about gorilla behavior. Studies of both events revealed that gorillas seem to have an innate ability to recognize human children as vulnerable beings, similar to their own infants. But this recognition can trigger very different responses depending on the circumstances. What many people don't know is that gorillas are one of the few animals that show distinct personality types, much like humans. Some are naturally more gentle and nurturing, while others are more protective and territorial. In captivity, these personality differences become even more pronounced. But perhaps the most surprising discovery came from studying gorilla stress responses. When faced with chaos and screaming crowds, a gorilla's brain chemistry changes dramatically. Their protective instincts can quickly turn to displays of dominance. Exactly what happened with Harambe. This isn't aggression, it's a natural response to perceived threats to their territory. Researchers studying footage from both incidents noticed something else remarkable. In both cases, the gorillas showed signs of understanding human fragility. Binti Jua's gentle handling and Harambe's initial protective stance suggested they knew they were dealing with something that required careful treatment. These insights would lead to discoveries that would change our understanding of great ape intelligence forever. Scientists studying gorilla behavior made another startling discovery. In the wild, when gorillas encounter infant animals of other species, they sometimes display protective behavior. There are documented cases of wild gorillas gently interacting with lost leopard cubs and even trying to protect injured birds. But the most fascinating revelation came from studying how gorillas process human emotions. When analyzing footage from various zoo incidents, researchers noticed that gorillas react differently to human crying versus screaming. A crying child often triggers a nurturing response, while screaming and chaos can provoke defensive behavior. Then there's the remarkable case that occurred at a Japanese zoo in 2003. A young gorilla saved a drowning bird in his enclosure, carefully fishing it out and placing it in a safe spot. The incident was caught on camera, showing the gentle giant using his massive hands with surprising delicacy to help a creature a fraction of his size. These observations led to a groundbreaking study of gorilla empathy. Researchers discovered that gorillas, like humans, have specialized brain cells called mirror neurons that help them understand and share the emotions of others. This ability isn't limited to their own species. They can read human emotional states with remarkable accuracy. But this emotional intelligence comes with a price. Just like humans, gorillas can experience trauma, stress, and emotional overload when faced with chaotic situations. The impact of these gorilla encounters led to some unexpected revelations about gorilla intelligence. In 2019, researchers discovered that gorillas have an extraordinary ability to remember faces, not just of their keepers, but of visitors who regularly come to see them. Some gorillas have been observed reacting differently to regular visitors versus newcomers. One particularly fascinating case involved a gorilla at the San Diego Zoo who would repeatedly try to show visitors his injured finger, as if seeking sympathy. When researchers studied this behavior, they realized he only did this with humans who had shown concern for him in the past. He was actually selecting his audience. But perhaps the most surprising discovery came from studying gorilla protective instincts. Scientists found that gorillas don't just recognize human children, they can distinguish between a child pretending to cry and genuine distress. This level of emotional intelligence was previously thought to exist only in humans and some dolphins. These discoveries highlighted something profound about gorilla cognition. These weren't just powerful animals acting on instinct. They were complex beings capable of understanding judgment and emotional processing. Each encounter between humans and gorillas wasn't just a random event, it was an interaction between two highly intelligent species. The implications of these findings would force us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about animal consciousness. While studying these incidents, scientists made an even more remarkable discovery about gorilla society. Gorillas develop unique cultures within their groups, passing down specific behaviors and responses to situations. Some groups become known for their gentleness, others for their protectiveness. At one zoo, researchers documented something extraordinary. A group of gorillas had developed their own method of warning human children who got too close to their enclosure. Instead of displaying aggressive behavior, they would gently tap on the glass and make specific gestures that seemed designed to communicate "step back" to young visitors. The most fascinating example came from a zoo in England, where a gorilla was observed using sign language to warn a child who was climbing on the barrier. The gorilla had learned these signs from watching keepers and was now using them to prevent potential accidents. This wasn't just learned behavior, it was active problem solving. But these discoveries also revealed something troubling. Just as gorillas can learn positive behaviors, they can also learn to fear humans based on negative experiences. Some gorillas, who witnessed aggressive crowd behavior, became permanently wary of human children, showing how deeply these intelligent animals are affected by their interactions with us. These insights would lead to a complete rethinking of how we manage human-gorilla interactions in captivity. Today, both the Binti Jua and Harambe incidents continue to influence how we think about our relationship with great apes. But perhaps the most profound impact has been on how we understand gorilla intelligence. These weren't just random encounters. They were windows into the complex minds of our closest relatives. Recent studies have shown that gorillas possess a form of emotional intelligence that rivals that of young human children. They can read human body language, understand our intentions, and even predict our behavior. Some researchers now believe that gorillas have their own form of moral code, a sense of right and wrong that guides their actions. The contrast between these two famous incidents, one ending in a miracle, the other in tragedy, reminds us that our interactions with these powerful animals are never simple. Each encounter is shaped by countless factors: the gorilla's personality, the environment, the human response, and even pure chance. But maybe the most important lesson from both stories is about respect. Not just respect for the physical power of these animals, but respect for their intelligence, their emotions, and their capacity for both gentleness and force. Every time we look into a gorilla's eyes, we're not just seeing an animal, we're seeing a thinking, feeling being whose mind might be more like ours than we ever imagined. The next time you visit a zoo and stand before a gorilla enclosure, remember Binti Jua and Harambe. Remember that you're not just watching an animal, you're being watched by a conscious, intelligent being who is trying to understand you just as much as you're trying to understand them. See you later!